People love to talk about the free healthcare in Canada, but what they never talk about is that if you don't have a family doctor, good luck accessing that free healthcare.
Imagine being 80 with nowhere to sleep. Is this you guys? I'm in my mid-70s. I'm 76.
Now, if you only had to pick from two options, now the options are, is Canada getting better or is Canada getting worse? In fact, we have a lot of videos that are relating to this very topic that we're going to be reacting in today's video, and also ask the question, is Canada becoming a second, potentially third world country? Will it become a third world country? Let's discuss it and react on the channel. The first video here has no audio. It's just the job market in Canada is cooked video by 6Buzz TV. As you guys can see, this is a massive lineup. I believe this is in Toronto for jobs at Tim Hortons and Wendy's. That is a crazy big lineup for a minimum wage job. But hey, if people are fighting that hard for minimum wage jobs, you really do have to ask the question, maybe we really are headed towards a second world or potentially even third world country.
Mass layoffs could be hitting the construction industry. Watch this. Up to 41,000 jobs could be lost in Ontario's construction sector, with construction unemployment already hitting 10%. This is being caused by a massive drop in new home sales as buyers hold off, which is pushing employment rates down in Ontario's crucial construction sector. So why are buyers holding off on purchasing new homes? Home buyers are blaming pricing, saying that these prices just don't make sense, and blaming some of the floor plans being offered as unlivable. Meanwhile, the builders are blaming large increases to development charges in government taxes, saying that the government is now making much more on the sale of a house than they are. So basically saying they don't have any room to lower these prices more. So what do you guys think? How do we get these new homes selling again so that workers can keep their jobs? Let me know.
Yeah, and the construction industry in general in Canada is very big because it's tied to, again, real estate, which is one of the biggest industries in Canada, perhaps the biggest industry. And they do have really good points in terms of the spaces not being livable. That's one of the reasons why the condo market is doing so poorly in Canada, especially in Toronto, is because they're building these unlivable condos for international students, for bachelors, and they're trying to charge close to $1 million on some of these units because they're right downtown, but they're literally unlivable boxes. And of course, eventually people are going to wake up to this realization, say, you know what, we're not buying these crazy condos anymore. In fact, a lot of international students and immigration is actually slowing down a lot in Canada, and a lot of international students are actually not coming to Canada anymore.
Imagine being 80 with nowhere to sleep. Is this you guys? I'm in my mid-70s. I'm 76. And my heart goes out to all the people that are boomers who have no tech, who have worked all their lives, and now they have a pension that is so small and they can't even get into subsidized housing because there isn't enough subsidized housing to go around. So here they are, 15% of people 55 plus in Edmonton are homeless. Homeless, guys. Homeless. What are you going to do? Those of us who are healthy and who have a way to be able to subsidize our pensions, need to help these people because they don't have internet, they don't have a roof over their head. It gets to minus 34 in the wintertime, or minus 40 even. And if you'd like to see the blueprint I found, put ready in the comments.
That is insane. The fact that there is that many old people that really need shelter in big cities like Edmonton. And again, very valid point. It's like minus 40 degrees. I think Edmonton and Winnipeg are like the two coldest cities in all of Canada. And you're talking about a homeless population of that size. And if they don't have proper subsidized housing, and if they don't have proper shelters, people who are even getting a form of income, which is, a pension, it's not much, but it's not able to fulfill their needs.
You see that word, patience is a virtue. I believe that word actually originated from this country, Canada. Because tell me how I'll be in this country for going to 2 years now, and there's no job. No job for me to even manage like I'm managing this job for the now. Going to 2 years now. I've been here for like, let me say 20 months. What the heck is going on? Please, even if it's cleaning job or to wash plates, I need it.
Seriously, The job market in Toronto is so bad. I'm just happy that I am not looking for a job anymore. Not that I'm employed. I'm not employed, but I'm not looking for a job anymore. And thank God I moved out of a place like Toronto. Toronto still does have one of the better job markets in Canada because a lot of companies like to set up shop there. But the unemployment, I think, in Canada right now is 7%. And the unemployment rate in Toronto, I think, is closer to 9% right now. And youth unemployment is close to 20% in Toronto. 20%.
This is at the Eaton Center, man. Look at this. This is the best system that they have for disposing garbage. Collection station.
That is absolutely disgusting to see that. Now, is there anyone working that day? Why is the counter so full of, especially Tim Hortons? Tim Hortons, my God, that is a bad look for Tim Hortons right there. Just to see their label branded on all that garbage on top of the counter there at Eaton Center. Eaton Center is supposed to be a very fancy mall, you know, here in Canada. It's one of the more famous malls in Canada. In fact, I would argue it's probably the most famous apart from maybe the West Edmonton Mall. Eaton Center used to be a place I used to go to at least a few times a week. I worked close to downtown in Toronto, and I would spend a lot of time on my breaks there. And even then, this is like 5-6 years ago, it was still looking really bad. And now I can't even imagine how bad it would be. God, I'm actually thankful I'm not going back there.
It's a fact right now that more and more Canadians are stressed out more than ever about money. Over half of everybody worries about their personal finances. The government says they're working on some big economic plans, but in reality, it's going to take years to see any sort of improvement. For now, we see Canadians that are struggling with high debt loads, smaller paychecks after paying their bills, and the reality that retiring early or actually even retiring on time is certainly not the case for a lot of people. So on average, Canadians owe about $1.85 for every dollar of disposable income. That is the highest in the G7.
The highest in the G7. And for a while, I've been telling people that Canada, for a country that's supposed to be so economically developed and part of the G7, is doing the worst out of the G7. In fact, it's probably closer to second world country rankings.
People love to talk about the free healthcare in Canada, but what they never talk about is that if you don't have a family doctor, good luck accessing that free healthcare. I've been on the call list for 3 years with the government to find me a family doctor. Nothing. I apply for family doctors when they are accepting new patients. Have never heard back from one. I pay $80 a month for Maple online care, but that can't always help me with certain things, which is really frustrating. I actually just made an appointment with a dietitian and he canceled it and said, I actually can't help you. You're too far gone. So this is my cry for help. If you have any tips on how to get medical care without having to go to a walk-in clinic, because that will take me hours and I just don't have time for that, let me know, because I'm at a loss. I don't really know what to do at this point, and I am chronically ill with no help.
Yeah, in Toronto, thank God we moved out of Toronto. We applied for a family doctor, but then 6 months later we moved to Alberta, and a year into moving to Alberta, we finally got a call saying that we got a family doctor. Hoorah! Hoorah! In Toronto. Thank God, though, we moved, so we didn't have to deal with that. It still took a month, though, to get a family doctor here in Calgary, so it's also getting worse in other places in Canada.
There was a time when living standards in Canada ensured that every family could own a house, have a stable income, have some money left over for vacations and things like that. And it was not too long ago when Canadians were able to do all of this. So when did it all start going down for Canada? When? Was it 2015 when we elected a certain leader based on his looks? Or was it a different time frame? Was it the COVID time frame when every kind of infrastructure started failing? Everything, all the policies that were meant to help people apparently didn't help people. We were on those lockdowns. Immigration went wrong. We let in too many people. And all these things happened before Trump came along. So let's not blame Trump for our problems. How did Canada get so bad?
How did Canada get so bad? Leave your thoughts about this subject and that line down below in the comment section. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.